Here we go. Got my hand in the way. How's it going, everyone? Joining me on the Friday afternoon here, Space Art by Christopher Dahl. Thank you all for joining me. Welcome and welcome to the model studio side, well, the model bench side of the studio. Thank you for joining. We got Tasty Whale, Spart. There we go. Greetings. Hope everything's doing okay. Let me cue up some music here. And as always, let me know if the music is too loud, any of that sort of thing. There we go. All right, there we roll. Keeping that going in the background, I believe. Oh, wait, desktop audio. There it goes. All right, wonderful. Hey, thanks for joining today. I know I'm trying out some new different things. We are not done with space art. In fact, not by a long shot. Although it's been a little bit since we've actually painted, I realize. So, in fact, the last painting we were working on here, let me pull this on out, was the Pillars of Creation. That, let me rotate it. There we go. This is the one that we were doing in oils, and it is almost done. Almost there. And nicely, it's set up very well since we've had it sitting for a couple of weeks. We will be coming back to this, but the projects have taken a little turn, and there's reason for that. So that's why the models have come into play. We're gonna do some fun things with them, and I'm gonna show you what we've been working on. Starting with the thing that we had last week, we worked on this lovely little Corsair. Check this little model out. This little gem of a model is a 72nd scale. Where's the box? I had the box. Yeah, 72nd scale Tamiya kit. In fact, let me grab that here. Oh, come back here. I've left things kind of off to the side. It's pretty crazy. Okay, here we go. Let's just kick this off in there. There we go. Hello, Rhonda. How you doing today? Good to see ya. Hey, happy Friday, Rhonda. Just showing off the model that we were working on last week. This Tamiya 72nd scale Corsair. Welcome aboard. Yeah, we're just getting rolling. Very cool. So yeah, the model. So this little airplane. Where's my pointer? Where's a good pointer? I will use my handy scriber pointer. Yeah, this little 72nd scale. I mean, it's tiny. Look, it's like, I picked this thing up. It's really small. Thank you. I haven't done too much on it yet. Basically, I kind of came back in with a little bit of the dark blue, and I have my little space art thing sitting behind it here. So it occurred to me as I'm working on these models. Well, I first off, I think a Corsair looking, flying in front of a planetary vortex is downright cool. And weird. Just the sort of combination of cool and weird that those of us, we love this sort of thing, right? Anyway, so I did a little bit of work on that. What else did I do? I not much, actually. I don't know if it'll be obvious yet. Let me just see here. Hold on. I started putting in some little bits of the silver, like to make it look like the it's probably really tough to see unless I jam it in really close, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Anyway, very little on this. I wanted to. I was kind of like weirdly reserving it for the live stream, and I wanted some of the paints that we'd put on before to set up. Sometimes when you come back in too soon, when you're doing washes and stuff, you'll push away anything that you had on there. So yeah. Oh yeah, there's little bits of green in here too. I don't know if you can see that. The green, so all of these planes were painted with a sort of God, what is it called? It's like a pale light yellow green, right? So when the paint starts wearing off, you'll start seeing hints of the primer coat, right? Anyway, so that was fun, and we're not all gonna do World War II airplanes and spaceships and things, even though that's primarily what I've got right now. But it's going to be fun. So anyhow, there's that beast, and I'm going to slide this out of the way. Our next candidate. So these are, just to give you all a rundown, these are sort of the projects that I've been clearing the deck with, right? here is the, let me move this up just a little bit. There we go. You can do that, right? Yeah, there we go. This is this Strange New Worlds Enterprise. I actually need a stand or something on this. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do like a stand. You could be on my Cocapelli coaster. There we go. Yeah, get up there. Right. Needs to be taller. Anyhow, well, we'll make it work. Anyhow, too funny. This beautiful little model was this is entirely by Round 2 Corporation. Entirely, yeah. They did the whole thing. They did the whole damn model, right? All of the little panels and details on this are decals, water slide decals, which is funny to me, actually. But let me just pop a thing here. There we go. All right, there we are. So this is crazy close up, right? Now, I hate water slide decals with a passion. I used to hate water slide decals with a passion, but I got on working on this little model, and it sort of forced me to go back to square one and just stop being a child about decals, water slide decals. And I must say, you know, you get in close, you can see where there's a little overlap in here, and they don't quite sit down all the way. But you know what? It's a tiny model. It's actually a very small model. So really, from shelf distance, you'll never notice it. Let me pop it off and see if I can show the underside here just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. This one, this is exciting. I'll see if I can hold it up and not shake it too badly. This was a 4-piece decal right here, and as you can see, the overlap was really bad. It's showing my little. I just took the paintbrush, took some of my gray paints, and kind of dotted this in with a brush. Did a little bit of wash on it. Yeah, and so that was exciting. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty nifty little model. Honestly, I feel like it was a fun thing to finally finish. Oh my gosh, there's edge stripes too. Holy smokes. Anyway, yeah. I'm very glad to kind of be done. This is like one of those, oh sure, I'll take a night and put all the decals on it. No, it was like 2 weeks of on and off, because you work on some and then you've got to let them dry, flip the thing over, work on some more. Ooh, but I can kind of pretend like it's going, ooh. Okay, anyway, yeah. All right, there we go. Enough of that craziness. Here we are. We have the we have the Strange New Worlds Enterprise. And this is going to need like a little scene. And tell me, as we're looking at this background is one of my paintings. It's printed on metal, but I kind of feel like backgrounds with models is pretty cool, especially if they're backgrounds that were painted by yours truly. Woohoo! So yeah, a little bit of that going on. Backgrounds and presentation, and I really, to get this going properly, I needed some finished models. Now I have some finished models, but they're mostly, they're dedicated to their stands. I wanted to do 2 things. One, improve the presentation, improve the improve the whole thing, make something a little more, so it's not just space art and it's not just models, right? Anyway. So that's the motivation behind the madness. Besides, it gets me to clear the bench off a little bit. Anyhow, what do we have next here? This little this little thing. This was a little on my hobby shop jaunt to Michigan a couple of weeks ago. I bought this little. It's the Ultraman. It's from the show Ultraman. It's pretty hilarious. Let me just pop this on over. So this is just a little tiny model kit of one of the little planes, and it's like a dozen pieces maybe, or something like that. Maybe a few more. $6. I said, okay, that's it. I've got it. So we have, ta-da, We have the Ultraman shuttle. I have it primed in white, and actually I was using this as a little bit of a test of my of the airbrush mixture, so I kind of got the mixture a little wrong on it. It's okay, a little sanding will be fine, but it did go on very thin, and it's all white right now. But it's just a fun little thing to test. I figure this would be something I can use to test the airbrush mixtures on both the paints and my primer. But this one's ready to be detailed after a little sanding. I got a couple of paint runs in there. Wasn't too happy with it, but it's gonna be a little fun. Again, little scenes. Let me push this little dude out of the way. Let's see. What else do we have? How's everybody's week going? Are we doing okay here this week? That's the question I have. Ta-da! Alrighty. Oh, this one's gonna need another. This one's gonna need to be a little taller as well. Hang tight. We are going to do this. We'll do this proper like. Here, I'm gonna ditch all of these. Bump. There we go. Isn't that adorable? I tell ya. Let me get the. Here we are. So yes, I know another Star Trek ship, right? I know, crazy. Imagine that. This one, I was just toying with it. I sort of spent maybe this thing's tiny too, which is hilarious. Let's see if let's see if I can get it to actually focus on this thing. Da 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 da. Come on, focus, you bum. Oh my God, soft focus, I guess. Okay, let's just do that. Yeah. Anyhow. Let's do this. This is called Fun with Toys. This little... All right. Well, no, that's annoying. Okay. All right. I know. Terrible presentation. Woo, what do we have here? Hello, Andrew 81 Designs. How you doing? We are hanging out for a Space Art Friday. Good to see you. We've got some little models here that I'm hoping show up. Yeah, there we go. So this was a little kit that I remember I ordered a model from Steve Iverson, called TV Man, from his shop, and this was oh, the focus is gonna drive me nuts. Okay, hang tight. I know how to fix that. That. Focus. And there we go. Oop. There we go. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Then he knocked it over. Brilliant. All right. So this was a pre-painted kit, meaning that it was all of the graphics that were normally like decals or stickers were actually provided. Like they were printed onto the model itself, and I'm just gonna keep going with this until I'm happy with the focus. All right, there we go. So it was just like a snap together. I think round 2 put these out. Put these out as kind of like stocking stuffer style model kit gift sets, and I didn't really know what to do with this model. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of fun. Obviously, build it and paint it and everything, but I had another thought. Like, what happens if I, get the assembly and everything and do a very light, rough pass on it? And I did there's literally almost nothing on this other than some acrylic paint that I gently removed near all of the graphics with some, with like a Q-tip. So really, it's kind of a combination of the original plastic it came with and just a little bit of airbrush. And I'm thinking dioramas, right? Something that could actually work out really nicely in a diorama with a nice backdrop. Anyhow, that was the genesis of this one. Oh, and about the paint job, the little, it's not a, what's the word I'm looking for? This isn't the original Enterprise. Like, this was actually more like the colors that were painted of the model kit from a box art for the model kit way back in the 70s. Anyway, so it was a little different, and I wanted to see what it would look like kind of on a ship. on an actual model. You know, how bad was that paint job, right? It was inaccurate, which annoys the fans to no end, of course, but that was the goal. I'm gonna grab a little drink. The drink tonight is a little root beer. Thank you. All right. So, in the interest of you know, the presentation part of all of this, let me pop back out here. I also have been building up a couple of these boxes, and this is really just with some scrap lumber. I wanted a 7-inch. I wanted a 7-inch box mainly for the airplane, so I could do a nice little, you know, I want to have it, you know, on its basically on a landing field with its gear down, you know, kind of a nice scene. And then where are the pieces here? This particular piece of wood has a slot on the back of it, so this is where we're getting to the art part, right? So the goal here would be to, and let me just pull this on out here. The goal here would be to, you know, have the airplane. Let me just put another piece in. Let's pretend like this is covered up with a nice floorboard here, right? There we go. See if we could do it. So, you know, it would be, get this guy out of the way. It would basically be a box like this that would be sitting with the plane on it, and then of course I would do a backdrop painting, and then this would effectively be what sits on your shelf. Yeah, I can actually do it like this. So obviously not with a giant knot in the front of it, right? So I just wanted to work on some presentations that were a little different than just models sitting on a stand, you know, something that would be a little exciting. Plus, this gives me the ability, woo, almost lost the plane. This gives me the ability to build a scene, which, you know, more painting, haha. So, once you start down this path, of course, then it becomes even more interesting because you start seeing the possibilities, right? We've got a setup now where I can actually work on this stuff. So I'm going to pull this on back. Let me do a little setup here. There we go. I'm just getting the shot lined up a bit. There we are. So now, what happens if we? Let me see if I can pull this back anymore. I really can't. Sorry, folks. So now, what happens if you have a nice display with a small model? You know, tastefully presented as a diorama, something that could hang on the wall, right? So yeah, effectively, I know I was just knocking all this together. Effectively one of these, right? Wait, let's get the planet in there. There we go. Yeah, so now we have an official Space Art by Christopher Dahl display with a with a scene featuring artwork and a ship. In this particular case, it happens to be this little Enterprise, but anyhow, so kind of a little different approach to the projects that I do, right? A little different. And that's my way of explanation of why all of a sudden some models showing up. And I mean, that's aside from the fact that it's just really fun. So yeah. All right. So the last little project I wanted to share, that is maybe one of the first scenes that I've planned since starting down this path. So this came up this week, and this is a tiny kit, right? This is a very, very small kit. This is one of the lunar modules from the Apollo program. And this is put out by the Heller Company. This is a very old model kit. This thing's been kicking around since the mid to late 60s. Really, this kit came out before the actual Apollo moon landing. There were a few of these out there, and they worked off of design drawings or plans before the finalized hardware for the Apollo moon missions. Anyway, I'm fascinated with the moon program as much as I am with anything else, and I've always kind of wanted to do a couple of different lunar modules. I just think it's a funky design, right? It's ridiculous. I love it. Truly a spacecraft in every sense of the word. So I started. Let me show you what I got here. I started on building this little kit, and it is tiny. This is a tiny lunar module. Oh yeah, let me pull out the sprues. What you get in the box is pretty hilarious, right? Like I said, this is an old model kit. So this plastic that they use, this polystyrene plastic, it's got kind of a silver tone to it, and I don't know what pigment they use to give the silver tone, but the nice thing about it is it makes this styrene less translucent, less light permeable. It means you don't have to have as much of a primer on it, which is great. But this is also, starting from the get-go, this is very brittle plastic. It snaps like at a moment's notice, especially these tiny pieces in here. So I was, anyway, I thought, well, what the heck? I can knock it together, get a close fabrication. Let's test some stuff out. Plus, this size is going to work out beautifully. It has, to go with it, the Apollo command module as well. The whole CSM, the command service module, command and service module. Yes, sprues. This little baby here is going to be fun. This is going to be the companion piece to the lunar module here. You see, right? You know, they do a little docky view here, right? Right? That's what they do. They do a little pop. Anyway, space docking. So, again, I'm a huge fan of the Apollo program. Let me just pop this up. Is it that brittle because of age or just poor material choice? Well, it's a combination of both, Tasty Whale. As I said, this is definitely an older kit, and as plastic ages, it does, styrene in particular, it does have a tendency to become more brittle. It's still structural. It depends on the kit, right? You really got to test some of the stuff. But I do think that the plastics that were used at the time were definitely subject to being a little more brutal. They were really inexpensive plastics even for the age, which means that they're probably subject to being more brittle later on. So it's kind of a little bit of both. But it's not like it's going to shatter. I mean, this stuff's pretty tough. The problem is, and let me reset the scene. I know we're now staring at a thing that looks like the same color as the thing it's sitting on. So allow me to take a moment and upgrade our situation. All right, here we go. Let's get this out of the way. Blop. Where do we have a clock? Yes. I shall set the stage properly. Here we go. So we have with cat hair too. Yeah, there we go. So we have the lunar module itself, the upper stage in a couple of pieces, and that's cool. We're gonna set that aside. It's also dusty. And then we have the lovely dancing bottom half of the thing. Let me pick it up so you can see what I'm talking about. Ha ha! You like me, do you? You like me, soldier? Yes, I know. See, I am the lunar module. Ha ha! All right, there's a reason for that, aside from basic madness. But, and that reason is, oh my God, it's hilarious. It looks like it's walking, right? It looks like a crazy cartoon walking thing, right? What we're looking at is the beginnings of my upgraded legs, right? So, each of these little pieces right here was one piece of plastic. In fact, where is it? This must be a job for Zoomify. There we go. Okay, so let's slide this so we can see what we're looking at here. There we go. Woohoo! So this piece is integrated to the body. It's just a hook of plastic, and look how thin this little bit is right here, right? Oh my God! Ah! And this is going to support the weight of supposedly the whole kit and caboodle, right? Like all of this thing, and the body, and then so these are the. This is tiny. This little, let me set it down so I'm not shaking. Sorry. There we go. This length of plastic right here is the leg that's going to support the whole thing, and I'm afraid to even like pull on it because it's probably gonna snap. So I thought, all right, if this model is going to have any amount of life to it at all, this is going to have to be a little bit more robust. To be fair, is designed to support the weight at lunar gravity. I'm not even sure. You're right, exactly. Here, I'm gonna turn my head off because I'm gonna turn my head off. I want to pull in some pieces. You're right, Tasty Whale. So I decided this cop. I have so much just ridiculous little bits of extra stuff, right? Laying about, and I had this piece of it's actually a copper tube. It's structural. I'm pretty certain it's copper. Anyway, it's copper colored, and it's a tube. So I thought, well, that's inherently going to be stronger than any plastic I attach to this other bit of plastic. So I'm like, okay, cool. I do still have the original legs. Yes, I do. So, in fact, let me show you how this is supposed to work. This little thing here gets attached. Let me pop it out here. There we go. So this gets attached. This eventually, this piece connects to this bit right there. I would not. Yeah, right. That's exactly how you doing, mediocre. I do not trust it at all. So I thought, okay, and then there's like a little extra support arm thing that goes kind of up in here. I just flung it. Anyway, so this little blah 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 blah. Dealing with tiny things. Yes, be smarter than the tiny thing. Anyway, there's another little support piece in here that I cannot for the life of me properly seat. So we'll just pretend like I know what I'm doing. Anyway, this little son of a how to irritate a nerd. That's gonna be this will be the subtext for my live stream. All right, hold on a second here. Oh, great. Aggravating the nerds. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyhow, all right. So, yeah. So this is actually, let's see if I can do it. This is actually supposed to go upright here, as support. And I thought, okay, cool. Well, these could be decorations, right? Those could be decorations. But the main thing I'm really happy about is getting this in the mix. So once I add some super glue to all of this and get it nestled up properly to where it's supposed to be, this is going to make for a very nice, strong model. I might add, sorry, where's my other pieces? I'm not certain. I might add a little extra beefiness up here with some super glue on each side of this piece, just for good measure. On the original lunar module, this arm is like, it's got this gigantic baffle. This was one beefy piece of engineering. It wasn't just this tiny, thin thing. So, anyhow, that's cool. So that'll be the next step, getting all these guys glued down, and all these legs, I should say. But the way I attached them, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see here. Oh, I'm going to do the thing, folks. I'm going to do the thing. Aha, there we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was crazy. I'll let it settle out a little bit, and then I'll move it. Woohoo. I took a piece of guitar string. I have extra pieces of guitar string because I was going crazy with guitars at the beginning of the year. I still am. So I have some extra clips, and I ran. It was tiny enough where it could run through the hole. And then I just wrapped it around this plastic piece and ran it back out. So, yeah, there we go. So wrong button. So each one of these So you see at the end here, actually you can see it better on this one. There's actually two it's basically one piece of guitar string that winds through and comes down to the bottom. So now I have them attached, and when it comes time to properly build and detail this thing, I'll just, I'll wrestle them into shape, and we'll have like a brass. We'll have brass. We will have brass. Let me move this someplace where it's a little less in the way. There we go. All right, here we go. Here is the beast here. This is the upper part of the spacecraft, right? This is where they rode the rocket. Well, they rode to the moon and then back out again, right? This thing is so small. I didn't bother painting an interior. I did actually shoot it with white. It's gonna be hard to see. I shot everything inside with some white paint. And that was just so that if you do happen to come up next to the window, you'll see something inside, but it's pretty rough. The top had a terrible, where's that piece? So this is what they gave us for the, there's a little doorway in the top. It's the little docking port, right? And as I said, this was kind of what they gave for the docking port. Well, on the real lunar module, on the real thing, it's flush with a basically a funnel in the top for docking. So I said, well, to heck with this thing, out of here. And this is 1/100th scale mediocre. So it's actually pretty tiny. It's smaller than 72nd scale. So I took like a little, I thought I'd fabricate my own little docking port, right? So, and I did. So I took a little scrap piece of brass that I had. It was a tube that I super glued onto this crazy little zinc washer and filled it with a modeling putty, Aves. And I think that's going to just fit right on in there. There we go. Once the Aves was wet, where's my little thing here? Once the Aves was still wet, it's basically a two-part clay. It's an epoxy putty. It dries and cures. I used a I used a form from my Dremel collection, one of these, and just kind of squished it on. Whoa, sorry, hand out of the way, Chris, so people could see. Haha, I just kind of like squished it on in. Let me move this on in here. Just kind of squished it in and gave myself a little docking funnel. This, in the original lunar module, this whole funnel was the door, basically. Well, it was the cap to the door, I should say. This whole piece right here in the original would like pop out as part of a combined unit. And yeah, so I thought, well, my minor bits of details, this kind of stuff makes me happy. So, it is pretty tiny kit though, mediocre. Let me kind of show you here. We're talking in terms of scale, here's the scale to a human hand, right? So it's a pretty small. This is a human nerd hand. Yes. Oh, haha. There we go. I'm going to do kind of a little demo there. Yeah, so where's the... Well, yeah, actually, it would sit on this side. There we go. So the whole thing, if I could... Oh, let me see if I can actually do it. I might be able to pull this off, everyone. Hold tight. Let's get on down there. Come on, you little bum. Stop being a pain. Called Chris fighting with his models. They're just being recalcitrant. Yes. All right, there we go. Get that one down. The funny thing is, this might hold its own weight up even without, like, even without all the rest of the stuff on it. If I can get the damn guitar wires to play nicely. It's not. Okay, we'll do it the easy way. Well, kind of. There we go. Sorry. You could really go down detailing that in Fusion 360 and printing out parts. Oh, yeah, totally. I'm actually Oh, there we go. So yeah, I met so mediocre. I've got some ideas for some serious detailing using my little. I've got a little Frozen Mini 4K printer, right? It's a and I haven't really used it much yet, but it would be perfect for detailing out stuff like this. Like I would there's a handrail that goes across the top here that would be beautiful on this, and some of the antennas. Oh yeah, this kit also doesn't have the there's little plumes that plume deflectors, right, for the RCS thrusters. They're just these little funnels that sit on the base in here. So I actually need to either fabricate those or, like you said, 3D print them, right? I don't know. Sometimes mediocre, as fun as it is to 3D print things, I kind of get a kick out of just fabricating little details, right? I've always kind of enjoyed the smaller scale kits, and this definitely qualifies, right? Hey, come on, sit upright, you little bum. There we go. Give him a show. There, now it just looks like it's drunk. There we go. This is like the drunk landing on the moon version right there. See? Anyway, so that's the lunar module. And it's like, well, what's the big deal? What am I going to do with this little tiny lunar module, right? Aha. Hold on. I love it. This was a what's the word I'm looking for? This is a bargain store find, right? Stephanie and I have a few of the bargain stores we love going through. So in spite of its humble beginnings, bear with me. We found stacks of these. This is, yes, Corona Light. Yes, this video is sponsored by Corona. No, it's not. Okay, first off, who the hell's going to buy this and put this in their house, right? Okay, well, anyway, I bought it. Anyhow, so this is actually just this is an inexpensive, I don't even know what metal this is. Pot metal? Who knows? It's really inexpensive metal, but it is metal. It's structural, and it's round. And it has 3D-ness to it, right? So one thought would be the I dropped the lunar module. Damn. Wow. Hold on a second. Sorry. More models get broken that way in this house. So what if we okay, so imagine Corona Beer comes to me and says, we want to do a commercial. No. Yeah, sure. Bingo. I'll paint you a model. No. I feel a moon painting in the works. Bingo, Rhonda. So there's a couple of ways I could do this, right? And actually, I have to tell you, I kind of didn't notice these at first. It was Stephanie who's like, hey, look, check these things out, right? I have two of them. These are the test models, right? I also got, oh yeah, woohoo, Elvis, woohoo, Elvis, woohoo. Elvis and Star Trek. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, so yeah, I have two of these. Yeah. You're right, Rhonda. I think moon painting, right? Yeah. So we do the moon, right? And we have our little, I wish it was built. We have our little spacecraft. So this is so ripe for a couple of versions, right? I mean, one is I could make this the base, right? Like this thing could be sitting on the table and I could have like the lunar landing scene, right? That would be adorable. but this is pretty big to have sitting on the table, right? So I'm kind of thinking wall hanging. Let me get I'm sorry about the cameras. I know this will get better, but I'm digging the bench approach, and we'll see. But anyway, so I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, what happens if this becomes like, you know, a wall hanging thing? I need to go on this side. What the hell, Chris? Yeah, so you hang this thing on the wall, and your model is kind of like an in-flight version, right? You so this is on the way to the moon or something. It's kind of coming across the front with the Apollo one, and then you paint like the moon, and not just like the full. I mean, there's a couple of ways I could do it. I could do this the full moon, right? I could totally do that. Or I could do the moon where it's kind of like, you know, you get half of the, you know, maybe not a crescent, but, and maybe not like a full half, just you get the bright side of the moon and those gorgeous mountains you get across the back. That would look pretty cool, especially since it has like, you know, it's kind of 3D, right? It would be sticking out from the wall. It maybe a little light behind it, so you have hanging on the wall with light, and then the thing, you know, there's some cool ideas. But my favorite, and I have to try this, is, you know, when you, I wish I got it to a point this week where I could show this. So I tell you what, as soon as I do, and here's my word, I will pop this onto I'll pop a short onto Patreon. If you turn this around, look what happens. You notice, okay, let's see what happens here. Damn stickers, right? Let me get the stickers up. We're not in a rush, are we? We're not really. By the way, I'm not sure how much actual work I'm going to be doing on this one today. I'm kind of in the middle of a few things. And this is fun. This to me is fun for a live stream. And I hope that you kind of enjoy it too, because it's sort of like, you know, I do these projects. I get paintings, you know, started, and sometimes we finish them, but I need to finish some projects, and I need to have fun finishing a lot of projects. And some of them could just be paintings for the wall, and that's great. But I feel like there's a nice magic working here in crossing the streams, Vinkman. I'm crossing the streams. Art and models. Who could have thought? Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're so they still have this bargain shop near us, Ollie's Bargain Warehouse, which if you have one near you, you too could go get yourself a Corona Light moon. All right, here we go. I want to see if I can pull this off. Maybe I can turn off one of my lights here. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay. So again, round, but it bows out. See, it's got like some, it's concave, right? Meaning it bows out this way. So you'll be seeing this in kind of the light, right? Yeah, it's harder to see. But if you turn it around, here we go. I think I can kind of, okay, that's a little too bright. Here we go. I need to get this hand out of the way. That's what I need to do. Okay, cool. Notice how on this side, you get a brightness to it, right? And as you go, it's the reflected light, right? The light here is actually coming from over here. It messes with your head when you see it in person. This is the same kind of thing. If you've ever seen the illusion where you see a wall, but it's actually coming out at you. Walls are painted on the sides, that sort of thing. I think there's an opportunity to do something similar to this, where you see your brain is going to say this thing is coming out at me, but it's not. It's actually kind of a dip, and the spacecraft will be in front of it. So, you know, kind of like this. I don't know what it's going to take to paint this right now. There's a surface on the inside. It looks like it's been sprayed, and there might actually be oils on this too. When they stamp these things out, a lot of times there's an oily surface, or I don't know. They did print them. I'm not really sure. I could hit it with some, let me hit it with some primer. Hang tight, everybody. Dun, 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 da 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 dun, 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 da 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 dun. Where's the thing? Hang tight. I'm going to hit it with some primer. Dun, 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 da da dun. It's going to make the place smelly. Where did that go? All right. I need a camera outside my door. Turn the fan up. Oh boy. Whew. Hello. Oh, yeah. There's a whole lot of primer in this. I know it's still shiny, right? Okay. I opened the door behind me and turned the fan on. It's great. Woohoo! This is like, okay, this is like having a pizza that's just spewing lacquer paint, right? I threw some lacquer on. It's okay. We got good ventilation. Let me see if I can make it work again. Okay, so yeah, again, it's kind of like you'll get a concavity, but it's really hard to see. Let me see. I can't really, there we go. Anyhow, it'll need to be, yeah, you get a little bit of that. And it's going to be weird to show on camera, right? This is the sort of thing where in person, especially if it's painted that way. Okay, it's sticking. We're doing it. All right. Roger, clear the decks. All right. How do I want to do this? First things first. I want to clear out any model that is in progress that I don't want covered with whatever I'm going to be spraying, right? All right, let me turn my light back on. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Hello, lunar module. You need to go away. Okay, let's go over here. I have a set of shelves next to me here that I think is going to come in very handy for this newly revised model scene. Da, 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 da. Mainly because it's within reach right now. Actually, the and then Mr. Corsair. Yes, we don't want you getting covered with moon dust. Thank you. Where am I going to put the Corsair? Put the Corsair. All right. Bingo. Let's get some things out of the way. What are we going to need for this? Air compressor. I turned the air compressor on. You should paint it red to do Mission to Mars. Oh, you know, see, that's the thing. Yeah. I can make it any planet I want. That's really cool. Hang tight. Compressor activate. All right. One of the things I've been trying to do with this, with all these exercises, is improve my process. A lot of times I'd get, and mediocre, you probably get this too. You kind of get into a project and you get bogged down because you just don't want to set something up, or you're like, I got to wait for something to dry, blah, 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 blah. So I'm trying to limit that a little bit. Anyhow, all right, what are we going to need? We're going to need a little bit of carbon black. We're painting the moon after all, which I have here. I have been finding that this high flow medium works great for these paints, these golden paints. Obviously, Golden makes them. Excellent stuff. I have a neutral gray number 5. Here we go. In fact, let's just do the art view here. So here's the airbrush here. Here's the high flow medium. I got a little carbon black. A little neutral gray there. Are we on manual focus or autofocus? We're on auto. Cool. We have neutral gray number 8. And finally, and we'll use this last, we've got titanium white. This is great. I didn't anticipate that I would be doing this moon. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Here's my little airbrush tray. Check this out. I got me a nice little cloth in there. I don't think we're gonna use the M2. This is my single action. We're gonna use the old HPC here. HPC, right? HPC plus. Haha. Da 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 da. And I need a lid. Bump, bump, bump. Let's see. Let's start off with I'm going to start off with the neutral gray, right? So let's get this in. Alrighty. I'm going to prep this up. I need myself a little paint cup. Da-da. There we go. So neutral gray. And I have my little paint stirrers. These are from Tamiya made these, and I have been using them for ages. They're excellent. I also have been collecting a whole bunch of little cloths, so I keep these handy. Especially when you're opening these bottles. Holy crap, they just have a tendency to spurt all over the place. So I'm going to give it a good shake. All right. Dow. Let's get some. We're going to be pouring in some. Now that's going to be probably plenty for what we're going to need. I don't want to go too crazy. You know, make this stuff last, right? All right. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to shoot it with some high flow medium. Now this does a couple of things. This is a paint retarder. So you don't want to go too crazy with it. Otherwise the stuff will just be all over it. It's a flow enhancer. I'm going to add just a little bit. I kind of want this to go on dry. It's going to definitely help it get through the airbrush, right? Normally I thin this down as you would for any airbrush mixture. They say, what is it, like skim milk, right? But I'm going a little thicker. It's still a little thick. Let me add a little bit more. There's no, I mean, anyone that's worked with an airbrush, you know, there's kind of like they have their magic mixes. I'm going to leave this one a little thicker. I kind of want this one to go on dry, and then maybe I'll add more if I need it. Okay, there we go. Hello, Faith. How you doing? Good to see you tonight. Wow, you're just like you're. I love. I follow you on Blue Sky there, Faith. You're cracking me up. I love it. Congratulate. Good to see you. We are gonna paint something fun here tonight. I'm just getting my paints ready. So now I got my neutral gray number 5, right? And let's get a little 8 ready to go. This one's a brighter color. Oh, I left the top open. Damn it. Ah. How are you doing, Faith? Hope you're doing good. We're Italian today. Yeah, we are Italian. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes. I'm all over the map. It's just I have a what does he say in Jurassic Park? He's inflicted with a something personality. I forget how it goes. Anyway, I'm just mixing up some paints for the old airbrush. All right, maybe a little bit more there. A little bit more. I made a mistake of using a little too much of this high flow medium, and it worked great. Oh yeah, it's also a leveling agent, which is really cool. So it's perfect for airbrushes. But if you put too much in, that beautiful acrylic paint that dries so fast, it takes forever to dry, and then it runs all over the place. I was very upset. Okay, I'm gonna do a little titanium white. I like having these pre-mixed because then we can just kind of swap the colors and go. Oh, not gonna need a ton of white, but we'll add some. A little bit of high flow medium. And again, if I find that this is not working as I go, I'll just add some more, and we'll make it work. We'll make it work. I actually do have a thinner. I've just been using the old Testors acrylic thinner. It's the same basic stuff, right? Okay, I'm gonna need a little black. I'm definitely gonna need some. Well, I don't want to go all the way black. Okay. Word of warning, the carbon black that these folks sell is, whoa, it is, black. It is black. Black hole sun black. So I'm gonna add a little bit of neutral gray to it. It's unnaturally black. I actually, I think it's a better black even than some of the Stuart Semple ones. I'm sorry to report. I like the effect of this black. Thin it down. Oddly enough, for a transgender person, I'm not all that clued into model building and painting, so I'm looking forward to your secrets. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you. The plan is, Faith, along with all the other stuff that I haven't finished yet, I'm going to do a few how-to videos. We're gonna walk through it, and I'm going to show you some fun ways. You're not the stereotype, alas. Well, let's get with it. You need models in your life. I'm not going to be the model pusher, I promise. There are some ways to make it accessible, right? And reasonably clean. So that's what I'm focusing on now. I'm focusing on a good process that will be repeatable, easy to manage, right? Error resistant, error catching, if you will. All that kind of good stuff. Because nobody wants a hobby to be stressful. All right, so I'm going to grab the hose. I've got a nice little quick disconnect on here. There we go. Oh, cleaning thing. So I've got this cleaning station, which I highly recommend. If you're doing any airbrushes, you'll see cleaning stations like this. I've showed this off before. What's really nice is, you just basically, you shove your airbrush in. It's got a nice little sealed bit. You run your air through it. You run your cleaner through it. Cuts down a lot of fumes. These are great, and it makes it much more pleasant in your house. So I usually, when I start off, even if I've got my airbrush clean, I drop in some of my airbrush cleaner, just a touch of it, just to kind of shoot it out here. Whatever you do, don't just shoot it into the air. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, there we go. All right. I'm going to keep this handy. because airbrush cleaner, very handy. All right, so now we've got the now we got that set up. If you know, in theory, I should have put it in there. Let's start with our neutral gray, and I got it in here. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna pour it straight on into the old, not a ton, right? Just a little bit in there. And I do have a little cap that I like to use because sometimes it'll, you know, it does a good job of preventing it from flying over the place. And I like to start on a piece of paper. Let me get a nice section on this one here. I keep just a scrap piece of paper handy. Interesting to see an airbrush. For model painting, I typically see small, thin brushes. Oh yes, you definitely can see both, but the airbrush, ho, let me tell you, sir. Ma'am, forgive me. Forgive me. It was yeah. There we go. Yeah, I got a nice little, you know, kind of controlled, not too thin, not too thick. There we are. So thin air. So I will say this: I'm probably for models. Let me grab a model. Like, so for instance, I will primarily airbrush the base colors, right? Especially on ships, even with people, figures, that kind of thing. And then the thin brushes you're talking about, Faith, are mainly for a lot of fine detailing. I have a couple. Where's a good one here? There we go. So yeah, I have some specialty brushes that get really tiny. Like this one. Actually, this one's so old it's almost more of a wash brush. It doesn't hold a point anymore. But yeah. And then the other thing you see a lot of that work out well are inexpensive wide brushes, right? That way you could do oil washes, and oil washes are a lot of fun. Yeah, for the base. Yeah, the base, and then, you know, I'll even paint this little dude. So you could do the base, and then you know, the other thing you could do, I've got gray, right? So I can come in here and I can get clever with, sorry, my hand's shaking now, go figure. You can get clever with shading, right? So let's just, I got a big, ignore my thumbprint, right? So now you can start getting these really cool, I know, I'm trying to keep it focused. Forgive me, everybody. There we go. You know, now you can kind of, you've got good control. And do light coats, and this paint goes on so thin that you preserve all the detail. Here's a little trick. Here's the back end on here. Let me see if I can pop this in a little closer. And actually, just so that I could, for the sake of demonstration, there we go. All right, let me see if I can get this in here. All right, I'm going to keep that right about there. There we go. So here's the back end. You see it, you can see it goes on pretty wet there, right? And I probably went too thick. But we've got all this detail in the back end. If I bring in the airbrush from an angle from above here, you'll start catching highlights before you catch the bases. So you kind of get like a nice highlighting effect, and you can do it from different angles, of course, you know. And then, of course, the front end here. I don't care that I'm getting paint on my fingers. That's fine. I just shouldn't touch it. And yeah, set that down, and you've got yourself... Oh, let me get this. I had to do some work on there. Let me see. Oh, sorry. There we go. I might still need to do a little work on that wing. I was originally going to paint the moon, but this is a nice time to demo this. So yeah, you know. There we go. Woohoo! Magic's good for sandblasted and wear. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Very good for those. Good for weathering, good for detailing. You actually, and tonight, today I should say, we're going to use it for painting a moon. So, here's the thing, right? I have these, if you're just coming in, I have these crazy metal round signs, wall art. who God knows who would want this, right? So what I'm going to do is we're going to paint like the moon on the back side of it here. So let's see if I can't set this up in a way that makes this easy to check out here, right? Oh, look at that. It's gray. It's gray. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, I'm zoomed in, aren't I? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Woohoo. All right. Maybe I can't do it from this. maybe I can't do it from... Maybe it's way too close, right? Yeah, see, great planets, right? Exactly. Oh my gosh, maybe I'll have to just do it this way, right? I need my easel. Wait, let's do it. Oh, but if I do this over here, my backdrop are all of my painted models. All right. Well, fortunately, I can make this work. I can do it. I can do it. We'll be fine. Do this with a plate. Yeah, exactly. Do this with a plate from a thrift store. Exactly. All right, so let's get this in here, right? Oh my God, my 50% is exactly the same color. Woohoo! What a nerd. I tell ya. Such a nerd. Nice demonstration, airbrushing the exact same freaking color that is actually on my thrift store reverse planet. Here, I'm gonna clean it out a little bit. Let me get the darker color. Boy, just when you think you got a great idea, right? You know? Here we go. All right. Changing colors on an airbrush does not have to be too big of a deal. I shoot some out. Besides, we're all using the same kind of same kind of stuff anyway, same kind of grays. So just putting a darker one, not a big deal. I do like to shoot it out just in general. All right, let me get my dark. We're gonna do the dark one now. Pour that on in. There we are. Lid back on the airbrush. Okay. Give it a few test shots here. Get some dark. There we go. Yes. Happy times. Happy times. All right. Trying this again. Right. Moon. I'm thinking like that. Yeah, like this. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, the ink was going through. Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. That is a problem, though, with airbrushes, right? You can be in a situation where your airbrush clogs, and it's like, oh, look at that. There's nothing. This one doesn't get as wide as the other one, but that's okay. We're gonna make this work. Ah! I do have a gigantic fan behind me, and there is airflow in here, but this is definitely getting... I don't recommend this, folks. We're gonna need more dark. Found object. Yes, exactly. All right. I could be more artistic with this, right? But I'm seeing cases where, oh yeah, look at that. Everywhere where the, I don't know, there was some oil or something on it. Let's get some high flow in here. I'm just gonna go straight for the black. That little bit that I mixed, not enough. Not by a lot. Okay. We're gonna fill this bad boy up and hope for the best. See, now I regret not doing my other airbrush because it definitely has a wider pattern, but that's okay. We're gonna start seeing some results on this. There we go. Oh yeah. Get on there. Get on there. This is actually a lot like just painting a model. You just got to get the whole dang thing, right? It's concave, so I'm like, or convex, I should say, so it's blasting back in my face. This reminds me of when I was doing those damn planets. No, I had a blast doing those planets. They were great. Seriously. No complaints about the planets at all. Okay. I'll show you what I'm seeing here in a minute. But okay, there's little bits in here. I'll do a close up in a minute. There's little bits where the stuff isn't working so great. It's like not connecting to the not contacting the surface very well, or I don't know, there's something going on. There's something happening. Okay, so now we have, let me set this down. Here's what we have so far, right? We'll do a, I don't know if it's working yet. Anyway, we're getting there. Yeah, the here's, so you can kind of see in here where it's not sticking in some places. That's okay. And obviously there's a scrape there. I'm gonna make this work. I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, now let's see. Gosh, I wish I could do a better detailed bit of this. Yeah, kind of. Well, anyway, let's just see what we can do here. Yeah, you guys, you all, I keep saying guys, you all deserve a better view of the operations here. There we go. All right, here we are. Art view, go. Right? Okay. Oh, it's not focusing. Come on, focus. Focus, you bum. Focus, you Visigoth, you creature of habit. All right. How can I do this? All right. I need a thing. My airbrush cleaner often becomes a airbrush holder. Good. What do we want? Sorry, folks. I know I'm just looking at some weird stuff. Yeah. Okay. Way to do this would be like, yeah. I'm trying to focus on something that's actually foggy. What's my favorite phase, Chris? Oh, okay. I kind of like the building, honestly. The building is really fun for me. Like that's a lot of times I have these kits that are just sort of like half built but not painted. And it isn't to say, sorry about that. It isn't to say I don't like the painting part. I do, but there's different parts of the painting that I like. I really enjoy the oil washes and making little details, right? Like that to me is so much fun. I don't know. There's just something about that to me is just like super awesome. So yeah, there's a couple of things like that. So I'm trying to waxing crescent, exactly. I'm trying to leave some hints of what would be craters. But sometimes I feel like every phase has kind of a has a good and a bad to it, right? Like I can kind of get into every phase of building a model. The thing that would always kind of get me tripped up is that I sort of had my workspace wasn't great for it, right? It was there's a lot more to having a model space than just like having the bench, right? Like you actually have to be able to deploy kits that you're building. Okay. And I really wasn't able to do that very well. Here we go. So yeah, so now we're kind of, let me do it this way. There we go. That's better. There we are. All right. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm going to darken up some more of this. So part of this has been, you know, new studio, right? New studio, studio space. I'm kind of just rediscovering my love of models, and not that I didn't enjoy them before. I always enjoyed them, absolutely. But it's kind of fun to be able to kind of integrate them into something that's more than just like the hobby, right? Since I'm doing space art. Sorry about that. Since I'm doing space art, let's kick it in, right? Let's unleash all the space art. there's a there's also some things about like just learning the airbrush, for instance, can be um, it can be a little frustrating, right? They don't work the way you think they're going to sometimes, and and that's just what something everybody goes through. But if it's going to slow you down, because like if you're just like not going to work on things because you're just like, ah, screw it, I can't be bothered today, right? Instead of just like, okay, I've got it all set up and ready to go, you're not going to build as much. It's going to be more of a, you know, kind of going to be more of a hassle for you. All right, I'm just cleaning out the old brush here. So it doesn't take much friction sometimes to prevent you from working on whatever your creative thing is, right? If you have to spend the first hour getting shit ready, you're not going to work on it, and that could be anything. So now I kind of have the ability to be deployed multiple. Really nice, not gonna lie. Okay, let's go with the neutral gray. I'm gonna this is the brighter of the two neutral grays that I have, right? Ooh, wow. Hang on a second. I need to clean this thing off. Hold tight. This airbrush cleaner is an excellent all-around cleaner. I buy a couple of jugs of it and I use it for almost everything. At some point, I think I'm going to have to figure out my own airbrush cleaner recipe, and there are a number of them out there. But still, okay. All right, let's see if we can't get this going. There we go. Little test there. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can have a better result. Oh, yeah, it's a little brighter. It's a little brighter. This is good. This is what we needed. Exactly. Oh, yeah. Let's just see here. What? Like this. There we go. It's a little brighter. It's a little hard to see because it is just gray. Let me see if I can get a little bright, even brighter than that. Yeah, little bits in here. I know this is not the way to do this, but maybe I should do a thing where I go really wide, right? I'm trying something. I'm trying something. I'm just moving my other camera, folks. Let me see if I can't. There we go. There we are. How's that? That's better. I can actually like showcase what I'm doing. I'm just gonna kick in a few mountain bits over here, and there we go. This is better. You actually can get some pretty fine lines with this, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle a few in. You know how there's, if you've ever seen, yeah, the waxing crescent, right? Yeah. Okay. And again, this is just kind of like my attempt at sort of sketching the moon, right? That's what I was looking for. I wanted to sketch. We're sketching right now, right? with it, sketching with an airbrush. All right. Flip it back over here. Go. This way. There we are. And alternately. So, like that. There we go. Oh, it's so trippy. I know it's really it may not seem like it to you, but I'm like, because I'm holding it, I know which way is actually pointing out and which way is not. It's kind of fun. All right. Yeah, it's fun for me. Let me without moving, I am going to queue up the brightest of our, I need to bring this thing back over here. I'm going to queue up the brightest of our paint. Because that's the way we roll. I'm just going to pour it straight in, give it a little, let it mix on the airbrush side. That's what we're going to do here. All right, switching back over. Grabbing our moon. This is funny. I had no intention of painting this, but I'm like, oh, heck yeah. All right, I got the white. It's coming up. I'm just going to get on the inside rim. There's a rim of stuff here, so I want to make sure that we get this. Oh, yeah. You can get a spatter effect if you pull your trigger back and then hit it, it'll spatter like space. Kind of that's the cheat way of doing stars with an airbrush. So yeah, stars. Hey, look at that. Now I'm going to add some spatters in the background here just for fun. Just because it'll give your eyes something else to look at. But anyway, you get the idea. Oh, yeah. So here we go. Actually, I can even do it upright if I wanted to. There we go. Hey, welcome to the Explorers. Hey, Faith, how you doing? Thank you for joining. We're gonna have some fun for all the members. We're gonna keep doing more fun things like this. So thank you. Appreciate you joining. Hey, welcome aboard. All right. I mean, this is kind of working nicely. Let me see. Where's my little model? So what's cool about this, I know the effect is going to be really hard for me to determine here. I got my little, I could do my little ships in orbit, you know, like they're getting ready to land, right? That would be kind of fun. Yay. Let me try the other light because I really feel like, yeah, I forgot to turn this one off. Okay. Let's try it with my other camera here, I should say. Dropping it all. So here we go. So I think it works better this way. Yeah. It's very, very, it's kind of deceptive, right? I mean, that's the goal. I hope that it is deceptive how it actually happens. And when you approach it, I want to get the top. There we go. Yeah. The goal is to sort of twist it. The spatter looks good. Thank you, Tasty Whale. Without context of it implies you see the stars through it. I know, right? It does kind of give it that weird, like, oh no, it's the stars. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Maybe there's no illusion here to speak of. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna mount this thing on the wall, and I'm gonna see if it works. Right? So yeah, it's an artistic improvement over reality. Well, there's that reality. No. How fun. Oh, very cool. Yeah. So, good good test. Good test. Now I need to get the models finished so I can like mount it and then figure out a nice way to sort of do like, find a place to mount it and walk up to it, check it out, see if that works. Actually, Tasty Whale, I think that could be kind of fun doing like a stars and nebula thing and then the rest of it's the moon. That would be all abstract and fun. Anyhow, oh my gosh, what a blast! Hey, thank you for suggesting that. I really appreciate it, everybody. I know it was really tricky. This is the way my project work goes quite a bit. Also, it's just like, oh, what am I gonna do this week? I have no idea. Let's just do a thing. Yes, awesome, very cool. That would be it would be very Treasure Planet, right? Yes, it would be very Treasure Planet. Oh my gosh. I have so many like every model that I have, I think I was recognizing every model that I've kept, I should say, are models that have stories to them, or they're attached to a story. There's some story about them, some story about my history. So I thought, I think this is a good way to go. We're gonna keep doing space art, right? I'm still gonna keep doing paintings, but maybe this is the version 2.0, right? Let's see if we can have some fun. That's the important part. I'm just cleaning off the old airbrush here. Yeah. So anyhow, I also realized that in the midst of our move and all of our other things, the one thing I wasn't really doing was producing, which is the one that damn thing I should be doing as an artist was, hang on. Ugh. I need to be producing cool shit, and I need to be doing a lot of it, and haven't been doing that as much. I've been doing cool shit with all of you on here, and I've been doing cool commissions. That's really cool. But in general, I kind of need a line of cool projects. That's what I really need to do. And this is where I'm going with it right now. It may be effed. It may be completely foobarred. I have no idea, but I got a vibe. I've got a vibe I'm following, and yeah, we're gonna make this go. Mainly because every time I look at one of these models, I can think of all the cool shit I want to do with them. And if I can do it in front of an audience, that would be kind of fun too. I did notice though that building models is damn boring to watch sometimes. So I'm going to try to focus on the parts that will be exciting to actually see somebody work on instead of that. I mean, as much as I love the Space 1999 Hawk that kind of got me kicked into this. Yeah, just kind of boring to watch. What are you gonna do? At least until I get it to a fun point. So that one will be coming back up. But yeah, again, thank you everyone for sticking around. I'm not going to give up on our painting. We're going to finish this one too, and I have my cool Star Wars one that we started a few weeks before that. So all those are going to get wrapped up, and we're going to get them up onto the store. Excellent. Thank you everyone that's taken advantage of my free shipping. I'm getting free shipping to everyone in the U.S. Until this whole thing blows over. And if you're outside the U.S., contact me directly. We'll work out a way to get something over to you. It's just it's yeah. Anyway, there's more gift to all of you. All right, folks. Thank you all for hanging out with me on a Friday. It was a little bit of a show and tell and some fun stuff, and we got to paint a moon. We got to paint kind of did a moon. I kind of did a moon. Yay! Awesome. I mooned all of you. Is what I did. I mooned all of you. All right, folks. Stay safe. We'll catch you all next week. Thank you so much for the I was going to say the follows and the subs and the membership. Yes, to all the explorers. We are going to do some fun projects together. If you do want to learn about models, stick around. I'm going to walk you through the process because I've got some cool things that I've shared, even that my fellow model makers don't do. So there we go. Even if you've built a lot, you might learn something. Okay. All right, folks. Stay safe. We'll catch you all next week. I'm going to leave you with the outro. Cheers. I love watching people build models. Thank you. Yeah, me too. I'm with you there on that, mediocre.
All right, so I've taken my white paint with my little fan brush here, and let's just see how crazy this goes. This is where I throw paint everywhere. That just kind of gives it an air of legitimacy that it doesn't deserve. You know?
I have Bob Ross the shit out of this painting. Yow.